In this part, we will see how to add functionalities for the user interaction. We will see how to build a registration and a login form, improve the user dashboard, and post a message. But first, we need to discuss some security concepts briefly. When it comes to handling forms, login, authentication system, or any kind of user input data, we should think about the security of our application. Every day, we see some website defacement, identity and information theft, or money fraud. Sorry, I don't mean to scare you, but the security of a web application is underestimated. Some of the most common weaknesses are techniques like cross-site scripting, SQL injections, and weak passwords. Let's start with cross-site scripting. AXSS enables to inject client-side script into a web page to bypass authentication or perform malicious actions. An example could be a malicious script inserted via a post comment form. Let's see a very basic XSS attack. This code simulates a common feature. We can add a text in the form which will be displayed on form submission. For example, opening the browser and inserting some words. The page returns what was expected. What will happen if we try to inject some nasty code? Let's pass this JavaScript code. Here we go. As there is no data encoding, we are able to inject the page with malicious scripts. For this specific case, we could prevent the attack from using the HTML entitles function to convert the quotes, and back to the browser, refreshing the page, and trying it again, we see that the XSS has been mitigated. There are better ways to prevent XSS attacks, so please consider this approach as an example. Moving forward to the next security issue. SQL injections are used to inject malicious code in SQL statements. For example, an insecure login form could receive an SQL malicious statement that can bypass the authentication process. Let's see an example. In this script, we can submit a username and see the relative email. Opening the browser and filling the form, the results look fine. If we try something like that, we can get all the emails from the database. Back to the code. The input is passed straight away to the query without any validation. An easy solution to this case is to use a prepared statement as we saw in a previous video about PDO. Another common vulnerability is called cross-site request forgery. I'll explain this with an example. Imagine you are logged in on Facebook, and at the same time, you open an email with a hidden malicious link. Let's assume this link secretly calls a Facebook API, which is supposed to post a message. If the API checks only if you are logged in or not, the post-malicious message will be processed. Without going in depth into security topics, you might see that XSS and SQLi can be mitigated with user input validation. And for CSRF, a random token generated in the submission form is a common prevention technique. Using an existing well-tested framework and tool like PDO or Doctrine gives us a ready-to-use system to handle security issues. PDO, as we saw in a previous video, allows binding parameters and type checks, which are useful against SQLi. About Silix, it includes several services to validate input data, perform login, handle session, create CSRF token, and configure a firewall to access page restrictions. In this video, we learnt the importance of the security of a web application.